And we're live. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.
Hello, welcome.
We're going to get started in a couple minutes here because people are still trickling in. So we're going to give them a little bit of time because we did have quite a lot of registrants for today, and we want to give people a minute to join because without fail, first 5 minutes is just people hopping in. So we'll get started in a couple of minutes here. But please do say hello in the chat. We would love to know who's here today. I'm going to pop all of our social media channels, us and our panelists, into the chat. Please add us. Like, I taught a webinar yesterday, and now I have all these new LinkedIn connections, and I love that. Then you can shoot us questions if you have them or whatever else. So please say hello in the chat, and I'm going to share everybody who's speaking today's social media now as well.
Also, in the chat, we'd love to hear where everyone's joining us from. So we have a worldwide panel today for you all that we'll talk about in a minute, but curious to see where everyone's tuning in from.
I know we got so lucky because of all of our 4 panelists, they're in 4 completely different industries and different countries. Even my mother-in-law was like, how did you find 4 such different people to talk on the same subject? So it's going to be awesome.
Dallas, Texas, nice. Montana, Colorado, Oklahoma, Czech Republic, let's go. Prague, beautiful city. I wanted to move there, be living there all the time.
If we were planning ahead, one of our speakers, Lisa McCormick, you've seen her in the chat, and we're about 100 yards away from each other in our separate homes right now. We should have just been sitting side by side. It would have been more fun.
We're all here virtually. It's like we're sitting next to each other, right?
Yeah, but I could literally throw a rock into her house. Ben, it sounds like your kids are having a dance party upstairs or something.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a herd of elephants. 6 tiny feet can be so loud. Canada representing.
As they should.
Mm-hmm.
It's negative 30 something where Lisa and I are located today. So hopefully everyone else has just even a little bit better weather than we do. We got Vietnam and Barbados, Czech Republic. This is so cool. We're going to get started let's get started now. Why not? It's time. Thank you so much for joining us here today, everybody. We are here to talk about ways to make more money without working a million more hours in your day. This is such a great subject. I'm super excited to talk about this one. So let's get into it. Here is the game plan for what we're going to speak about today. First, Ben and I are going to chat with you guys for about 10 minutes or so. We're going to talk about asynchronous offers and selling while you sleep. We're going to talk about some automation stuff. And then after those 10 minutes, we get into the really good stuff. So Kate and our panel are going to chat. And please, if you guys have questions for the panel, you have questions for us, please throw it in that public chat. We'll answer them live as much as we can. And if there's a question we don't get to live, we'll email you afterwards. So please, if you have questions, don't be shy. That's what the chat is for. And without further ado, let's introduce our panel. We've got Romana here. She's so cool, guys. So she has started 2 different ventures here. Grow with Row, where she's a fractional CMO, and she's the founder of the GYM, GYM, which stands for Grow Your Marketing. She has built a 12-week mentorship boot camp for marketing, for helping people to build their strategy, their lead generation, their go-to-market, their take over the world strategy. She's positively brilliant. If you're a newer business, that GYM would just be, if I had a business of my own, Jim would be like so high up on my list. It sounds so cool. She's brilliant. We're so excited to hear from her. And she is joining us from Portugal. We've got Tiara Mosley joining us from New York. She is so fabulous. I've been so pumped getting to know this girl, but personal stylist, fashion writer. She's taught a personal style masterclass recently. She's a fashion icon. If I could raid somebody's closet, I would be all over Tiara's closet. Oh my gosh. Cause like the girl has so much style, and she's the founder of Stylish on Purpose, helping women to show up exactly as they want to be seen. And she's just doing amazing, cool work in New York City. So we've got the fashion queen here from New York. We've got Roel van Gorkum joining us from the Netherlands. He was dealing with tinnitus, and nothing was helping until he figured out his own ways, his own research-based methodologies to improve it for himself. And now he's running courses to help everybody else do it as well, which is incredible. And some of the stuff he's doing is just so cool. I can't wait to hear from him. And he's got this whole course that he's selling that people can get in and get the help they need. And he doesn't even have to be online. He's just making money. And I love that for him. So we're going to hear more from him. And we've got Lisa. She is the absolute mastermind behind my hair, as well as half my town. She's a hairstylist of 25 years. She already has built and scaled this incredible extension company. She sold that one, and now she's building her next one. Aura Locks is launching soon, and I am so pumped to get to chat with her today because she's also a good friend of mine. So this is going to be awesome. That's our panel, but let's get into what we're actually talking about today. So does this sound familiar? Charging by the hour is great because you know if you're working, you're getting paid. You know if you work X amount of hours, you make X amount of dollars. And that's really nice in terms of planning, in terms of budgeting, in terms of understanding and prioritizing in your own life. But it's got some drawbacks too. If you bill by the hour, you only make money by how many hours you can work. Your calendar is your ceiling, because if you've got plans, if you want to go for lunch with the girls, go on a vacation with your family, go to a doctor's appointment during the day, you're literally cutting down your own income to do anything but work. Not to mention spending administrative time growing or scaling your business. It's taking away from the things that get you paid. And so trying to grow your business just becomes burnout. It's just a vicious cycle, but it doesn't always have to be. And all of our panelists have added things into their businesses to kill that vicious cycle. And now Ben's going to share a bit about like his inspo behind this, this entire conversation here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're going to hear from our panel a bit later, it's all about getting you out of the business so it can work without you there. And one of the bit of inspiration is the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And if you haven't read this book, I definitely recommend to check it out. It's about shifting from that time-bound thing to more of an operator outside of it, working on your business, in your business, about kind of delegating, automating, and ultimately liberating. So you see the person on the cover just in the hammock on the beach. That's the goal, right? To make money while everybody's sleeping. And our panel is going to talk about how they've done that, how they scaled their offerings and kind of gone through that. And we have a special giveaway. If you stay to the end, I'm going to give away 5 copies of this book to folks because I'm so bullish on this and I want you to transform your business, scale your offerings, and really kind of liberate yourself and grow. So if you stay to the end, we'll have that coming up a bit later. But what the most important piece of a lot of this is about protecting your time, right? And protecting your energy, because as Becca mentioned, your calendar is your ceiling, and that is kind of the confines. And at YouCanBookMe, that's where we can kind of help with that. So with a YouCanBookMe booking page, you have the ability to set up a booking page that's getting bookings for you 24/7. And you can set up padding and buffers and time. So then you can prepare for your day, put limits and adjustment notices, all of that stuff, some automated confirmations and reminders that Becca will talk about in a little bit. But it's all about preserving your time and controlling that time and offering, limited time for folks, introductory calls as an example, or longer conversations. But the thing that I want you all to take away from this is thinking how this is the stepping point to then liberate yourself from that. And one beautiful example is Ro's website, right? Romana's website has a booking link right there. So she can have this kind of lead generation 24/7 to get more people to funnel into her gym and her other offerings and her consulting, all while she's sleeping, right? So people can find that 24/7 and get onto her calendar. And a different kind of option too is the booking one-to-many, like the workshops that Tiara is doing. So she can have a booking page that allows multiple people to book the same time slot. So it's, again, not trading her time for money, and it's increasing the amount of people she can serve in that same amount of time. So just scaling the offering that way. And now Becca's going to talk a bit about kind of automating things after that.
Absolutely. So really quick, let's talk about automation for 3 or 4 minutes, and then it's to the panel, guys, because that's what I'm most excited about. And to answer this question that just popped up into the chat, this is absolutely being recorded. I need a few minutes to edit this after the call, and then it'll be automatically sent out to everybody who registered within a couple hours. So just give me a little bit of time to edit this thing, and then it will be in all of your inboxes, and you will see it today. But let's talk about some automation, because let's be honest, we all have those administrative or just daily tasks in our brain that you do it on repeat and it sucks and you're over it. Like, if I could automate my house getting vacuumed twice a day after my dogs, that would be the dream. But that's not realistic. Let's talk about automation in business instead. Some things you can automate with YouCanBookMe that are absolute game changers. Using multiple booking links. You can have different booking links for different appointments, different use cases. So you can control who can book you when, for how long, for what price. So whether that's you're in Lisa's use case where you've got color appointments versus cut appointments, or you've got Tiara's use case where you might have initial consultants versus meetings with long-term clients. You can organize it so that those potential customers aren't getting an hour of your time, and that those long customers are paying for their time. You can totally automate everything. You can also use booking forms to qualify your clients, which is absolutely huge. I'm a big fan of this one because you can ask questions that reveal budget, urgency, use case, decision-making authority. Just ask them, like, do you even have the money to be my client? But in a more professional and poised way. I used AI to write these examples, but they work. You shouldn't be meeting with people who are time wasters. We've all got more things to do with our schedule. And a person who's crushing it at qualifying their customers is Rule. I had to get very creative to fit his whole booking page onto this slide. So graphic design team, don't shoot me. But I did my best to fit it all in here, because this is how many questions he asks before you're even allowed to talk to him. And I think it's incredible, because he's not just asking, okay, who are you and where are you? He's asking about the actual, like, signs, the symptoms. Or is the issue that you're facing one he's even able to help you with? And he gets all of these details, which I'm sure not only helps him to qualify if somebody's the right fit for his time, but also helps him to come in so prepped for that call. And if you're that prepped for an intro call, you know you're going to close that sale. So I just think the fact that I couldn't even fit it on a page is just poetry to, like, how awesome and thorough this booking page is. I had to show it somehow or other. The other feature that I don't know if he's using, but I would be using in his case, or heck, I use in my own case, I love the accept and decline meeting function. So when you try and book with me, it's not going to go through. Sorry. Instead, you're going to get an alert that I've received your request, and then I'll get back to you. Then I'm going to get an alert saying, hey, Ben wants to meet with me. Do I want to meet with Ben? Here's all Ben's answers to my booking form questions. And I can say, absolutely, hit yes. It goes in Ben's calendar, it goes in my calendar, automated. Or if it's not the right fit, I can send a pre-written by me message politely saying no, or I can edit it on the fly and then have it go to him and just let him know. Sorry, Ben, but no. And it protects you from having to have either those awkward meetings where you know it's not worth your time, but you're too polite to say no, or having to send some awkward message where you have to be like, sorry, buddy. Yeah, it's automated. They know that, like, you have to consider the meeting before it even gets accepted. There's no awkwardly going in and deleting a meeting that's already been accepted in your calendar. And then payment taking. This one's important in my mind, because in case you don't know, taking deposits, taking payments upfront, whether it's a full payment or just a chunk of the deposit, it decreases your no-show rates by 55%. That's a lot of money if you get paid for the time you're meeting with your customers. So you can take those payments up front. There's no more fighting with that dang debit machine that never wants to work anyways. You can just let them pay up front when they book. Debit, credit, Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever they want. It's fine. They can use any of them. But you don't have to worry about payment processing, and you don't have to worry about no-shows, because if they've paid money to see you, you know they're showing up. And then finally, and I'm 100% calling out a couple of our panelists on this one, there are a million and one ways that you can upsell beyond those just hourly appointments with people. In a previous webinar that Kate, Ben, and I put together, I think it was 8 pages worth of upsell ideas we put together. It is this like gigantic PDF of just like every way we could come up with to make more money on top of bookings. If anybody wants that, please shoot me a message. You've got my LinkedIn in the chat. Just raise your hand in the chat. I don't care how you get a hold of me. Respond to my email when I send you the slides later. But happy to share that document with anybody who wants it, because make more money. There's so many extra things you can do, whether it's exclusive offers for your bookers. Maybe it's priority shipping. Maybe it's hair extensions for your hair clients. Maybe it's offline courses, fitness plans, meal planners, bonus items. There's so much you can do to make extra money on top of just meeting with your customers. And you can charge them for those things right when they book. And again, you don't have to think about it. It's auto charged to their credit card. So happy to share that document with anybody who wants it. But that's enough of me talking 1,000 miles a minute. Let's get to the good stuff. And Kate.
Thank you, Becca and Ben. That's really, really helpful. Some really good actionable advice there in terms of things you can do today using YouCanBookMe to kind of protect your time and take these first steps towards what we're about to talk about now. So I'm super excited to talk to our panel, because they've kind of come up with this, that they're like wizards. There's alchemy of, they've taken the same 24 hours that we've all been given in our lives and figured out a way to, from a revenue point of view at least, multiply that and give themselves more hours in every day. And who hasn't ever said, I need more hours in a day? They do it very differently. So Ramana and Tiara are both, they were paid per meeting, and they've managed to expand that and get more revenue per hour that they're using, increasing what they're using by creating a different offer in their model. And then also Rule and Lisa both have more. Lisa particularly has a very physical product that she's selling as an addition to the services that she provides, and Rule has got a course as well. And so really interesting, lots of different options here for doing this. And you really have to find your kind of, what is the thing that's going to do that for your business. And so I'm really excited to talk to Ramana in the first case about this, because Ramana, you not only have done this, but you've actually you coach people how to do it as well in your business, and you and your emails and your website are so incredibly confident about anybody can do this. Of course you can do this, but it can't be that easy. So tell us a little bit about like what made you realize that you could do this and that you needed to go beyond just the hourly rate.
So as soon as I started my business, I was kind of like, okay, I don't want to go from this trap of become, like, I was a head of marketing before, as you know, and I went from that to becoming a fractional CMO. So kind of like doing the same thing, but instead of doing it full time as a job, I got clients. And for a fraction of my time, I was basically doing like a very similar job for clients. But I was just like, I don't want to start a business to be in this trap of trading my time for money, because if it was to do that, I would be in a job. So immediately I was like, I have to create something. I have to have like some sort of program that I can scale. So with help, like I got help the same way that people come to me for help now. At the time, I was just like, I think I need help and accountability to actually bring this to life. So with help, I created my program. I called it the GYM, stands for Grow Your Marketing and Grow Your Mindset as well, because the two go hand in hand. And basically it's actually now an ongoing membership, but I ask people to have like this minimum 3-month commitment so they can really start seeing their business getting set up step by step. But basically, like by doing this, I can really scale my business, because now I'm no longer trading time for money. I can have a group like as big as I want. And basically there are just like no limits when it comes to like how many people I can have in my program and how much money I can make with that.
And I should say that Ben has portrayed you as either lying in a hammock or taking bookings or taking meetings while you're sleeping. And I know you work really, really hard, so it's not all that easy.
No, it's not. No, I worked. I still work very, very hard. Yeah, but I am actually in this transition phase in my business that I really want to go. Like last year, I had to put like this program on hold for family reasons. This year, I'm going to go all in. And really, like, my goal is to scale this to a point that this is really like the thing that I'm doing. So yeah.
And so moving away from hourly meetings altogether,
Yes.
and just going into this, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and just doing like group coaching.
Right. Okay. And Tiara, tell me about yours, because you're in a similar situation. You were meeting people one-on-one, and then you thought, well, I can meet more than person at a time. But it's not really like, oh, same meeting, just more people. You have to have an offer, don't you? So how did you know when the time was right in terms of your level of expertise and your level of contacts and things like that?
Yeah, so it mainly comes down to, like you said, your offer and really thinking about what it is you're helping somebody do. And then you think about how many people can you help do this thing? How many people have this issue? And how can you maximize your expertise or gift in a valuable way that as many people as possible can receive value? So one of those things is to do a masterclass where I'm a personal stylist, so the core offer I have is one-to-one, but some people may not need that level of support. Some people just kind of want to have a conversation in a community setting with more than one person where we can, because it's personal, right? It's style, it's clothes, it's fashion. Like you want to have conversations around that. So you bring in myself and these other women who have this similar interest, and you get, a group of however many people. I usually do maybe 20 max, because if you get more than that, and you don't really have enough time, and that defeats the purpose. But essentially you get a good core group of people who, want to invest this level of time into something, and you can bring them in and have a conversation.
So it sounds like you both have found a very defined community. And I think this is a real key to success in business in general, but for this is it to really know who you're speaking to and be able to attract those people to your business. So Raul, you started out very intentionally that this was the business you wanted to have. You did not want to be doing, as Romana said, you didn't want to be doing hourly meetings. You intentionally started out with, I want to do a class. So tell us a little bit about like how you went directly into that. What tools did you use? How did you set that proposition up? Because you weren't going from, I can meet one-on-one and now I can meet loads. You actually went straight into the product that you were offering.
Yeah, true. Because before this, I was an interim consultant, freelance consultant. So I was really trading my time for money. I was billing every hour. I was doing that for a couple of years, and I felt quite trapped. And so I really like freedom and time for myself and to do what I like is really number one priority for me. And I realized I was not going to get that with my freelance consulting. And when I was ill or something happened, I couldn't bill any hours. So I was always stuck in like the treadmill. So I realized that I wanted to build something scalable where I can build a product and not have to work and trade all my time for money. So indeed, as you said, that was the design criterion before I started. Yeah, and before I even launched the course, I first tested whether I could make it profitable. So I started by building a simple website with a sign-up button that looked like you could buy the course, but the course wasn't there yet. And I started running Google Ads and seeing all my conversions. I can talk about it in more detail later. So I was calculating what it would cost me to find a person who would sign up to my wait list. And I would estimate maybe 1 in 10 people on my wait list will actually buy the course. I'm an engineer by background, so that's why I'm talking about ratios directly. So I calculated that it would be what it would cost me to acquire a customer without having the course. And I realized that in the Netherlands, at least, where we don't have extremely expensive ads like in the US, it would be probably profitable. And then I started building the course. Yeah.
Okay, so you were definitely trying to kind of make sure that this was going to work for you in that sense, before, to make sure that it wasn't. And I think that probably goes back to Romana's point about like just having that confidence to know that there is a demand for this, and Tiara as well. You've had enough discussion. There's enough people who want to meet with you. You physically can't meet the demand, so you've created that demand almost up front, haven't you? That makes a lot of sense. And so, Lisa, you're a slightly different case as well, because you are very much a physical product. So you've had to think about things like suppliers and inventory and shipping and things like that. So I'm really interested about what your approach to that was. You were doing people's hair, you were having individual appointments, but you thought there's something here that can be an extension to your business, which is, adding to it, but also it's a very different way of operating in that physical product.
Yeah.
What was your experience with that?
It honestly came down to something super simple. I'm a hairstylist. I've been doing it for 25 years.
Lisa, are you there? I think you might be, you might be muted.
Hold on. I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Oh, you can hear Lisa? I can't hear Lisa.
I can hear.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can't hear Lisa. I don't know why.
Are we good?
That's really interesting.
Are we good? Yeah? Okay, so it all came down to I owned 2 hair salons and I had over 30 staff. And I
Becca,
found
maybe you want to jump in and ask and explain what she said, because I don't know what she said.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I think everybody can hear you but Kate, which is
that's so bizarre.
That's so weird.
Lisa, you want to try muting and then unmuting? Maybe we can hear you. And if not, I'll just chat with Lisa for a second and then we'll flag Kate back on.
How's that?
Oh, that's so frustrating. Kate, I don't think she can hear you still. I don't know what it is, because everybody can hear Lisa but
that's
Kate.
Very weird. Very, very weird.
That's okay. Lisa, we'll chat for 2 minutes. Sorry, Kate. You're just going to have to watch this part of the recording.
Just tell me what I have to speak next.
You own 2 salons, you had over 30 staff, and then what happened?
So then I was sick and tired of essentially having my body break down and working with hair extensions that were terrible quality. So then I went, and then you lose money, right? Because the product isn't upholding, and people are paying upwards to $2,000 a set, right? And so I wanted to cut out that middleman. So I did a ton of research, and then I saw that over 90% of hair extensions on the market were actually coming at an incredibly unethical source. I'm talking from sewer drains to corpses to children being bribed with 10 cents to feed their family to cut their hair off. So I did research over 2.5 years to find ethically sourced markets. And it was probably the best thing I ever did, because by getting sources that were only donated, the hair quality was much more superior.
I love that. And like, your product speaks for itself. Can confirm. I'm personally a big fan as Lisa's client, but you built this successful empire. You sold it. You made money, which is everybody, but now you're doing it again. What?
I'm doing it again because it's funny how you do something once and it wasn't making my life easier. So I had 2 salons and I had a hair extension company, and I had no life. I was miserable. And I'm like, okay, this has to get easier. Like, there has to be a way to funnel this. So then, like what we're talking about today, I want to collect an income while I'm sleeping. Like, I've put in the hours, I've paid my dues, I compete, I'm a master colorist, I'm a trichologist. Something's got to give here. So I'm doing it very different this time, more courses, like what we were talking about, where people have to apply essentially to get the courses. And it's been kind of life-changing, actually, when you kind of figure out the formula. And it's more so about getting rid of that middleman is a big key to your success, and to find the bravery within yourself just to do it.
Absolutely. So cool. And like, I cannot wait for these new extensions that Lisa's got coming out, because they are, like, from everything she's told me about this new brand, Orlox is going to be epic. And my next set is going to be coming from Orlox as well. But let's push it back to Kate here for her next question.
And Becca, you might just need to translate for me when we get to Lisa on this one, but that's fine. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about kind of what you've learned. What if you were starting all over again? What would you tell that person who is starting? If you could go back in time and say, what would you tell that person? Tiara, tell us a little bit about that. When you made this decision, and did you wait too long? What kind of advice were you taking? That kind of thing.
Totally. I would tell that person, don't wait too long. You know what I mean? Like, you have to just start. At the end of the day, you know what you know. You know what you don't know, and then the rest of that you don't until you come across it. It's a long way of saying you just have to do the work, fail sometimes. And failure really is learning. You have to look at that as learning. Like, you have to get something wrong so you can get it right and do it better. And don't be afraid of that. Imposter syndrome is a real thing that a large majority of the population experiences in a multitude of ways. But you have to just embrace that you'll feel that way until you don't. And there are people out there that really need and want and will love what you have to offer. And you don't want to keep them waiting. And so just go.
That's great. I love that. And Romana, so you mentioned that you had to put things on hold a little bit this year, last year, but next year you're going to really lean into it. And so I'm kind of interested by that, because I think one of the concerns for some business owners is I might take on too much, and then I'm committed and almost overcommitted. So talk to me a little bit about how you felt about having to pull back a little bit and what you've learned from that.
Yeah, I think like this is really like the beauty of having your own business, is that you can make decisions like this. While when you have a job, like you cannot, say, oh yeah, I will only work 3 hours today. You have to be there, period. So I think like this is really like the beauty of working for yourself, is that you can press the sprint if you want to sprint. You can, work a little bit less if you have to. And last year, it was really like a conscious decision of, okay, like there's something happening right now that needs my attention. So I don't think I have energy to be, like putting my focus here and like growing the program and like all the other clients that I have. So I'll just, like take it a little bit easier this year. And this year I'm on full sprint mode. So since the year started, it has been like full sprint.
I love the way you speak about having employed work as having a job, and like you don't have a job now, because you're still working really, really hard, but you clearly love what you're doing, and you're doing it for yourself. So it makes a difference.
Yeah, it does make a huge difference. Yes.
And so, Rule, you were saying the same thing. You were working in kind of part-time kind of consulting jobs, were kind of working for the man, as it were. So tell a little bit about that, like what the impact it's made on your life. What is this freedom like for you?
So I've been doing this now for a couple of years. So my answer now is different than when I just started, because I was so stressed out. Will I make money? I wasn't even thinking like, is my product good enough? I wasn't even just considering like not making money. I was also considering every year I'm not making money with my new business. I could have been doing my previous job. And with my previous job, I had a good income. So I was very tough. It's a very difficult position when you just start, but now it's going very well. And what was your question?
Well, just that exactly. What would you say to the person
if
you could go back in time? What would you say to yourself? Like,
okay, so I really agree with Tiara. Like, it's so amazing to be able to set your own agenda. I mean, I just put some blocks in my calendar, like, okay, this week I only want to talk to people on Wednesday afternoon. YouCanBookMe integrates with it very nicely. And that's it. And that's how I determine my week. And that to me is besides making enough money, the proper living to be able to pay your bills. But that to me, that freedom is awesome. And I would agree with Tiara. There's so many things you don't know, and just by doing the work, you will learn a lot. And also, I would recommend people to have some kind of financial buffer before they start, because if you don't, every decision is built on, if I don't make this sale, if I don't get this customer, this is really crucial for the continuation of my business. Whereas if you have some buffer, you're more relaxed. And when you're more relaxed, then talking to customers or potential customers is just much easier, and making decisions is also easier. For example, at some point you might want to advertise, and advertising is expensive, but you need to advertise or test things out, and that costs money. So I would definitely advise people to have some financial buffer, like a year or something like that, so you can be a little bit more relaxed about the entrepreneurship.
That's a really powerful point. I think that the stress of the financial stress that comes with not having that buffer makes you make potentially short-term decisions that are not in the best interest of your long-term growth strategy or what you want to do going forward.
Yes.
Really interesting. And so, Lisa, tell me a little bit about, again, your physical product. You had to build this thing, this new business. What would you tell yourself going back then to what you needed to do and to find out all the various bits that you had to find out about making that work?
Definitely, to touch base on what he said, is have a good financial backing. I was always taught never take out a bank loan to start a business. Never. Always save. And definitely keep your corporation full of money. So then that way you can have more money for ad spacing. But yeah, it all started just with one product. I just got one sample product sent and I fully customized it. And it took a lot of money to get all of that customized. So the hair extension market is a very expensive market to get into because you're doing everything's customized, whether it's the track, the hair quality you have, your treatment system, how many bundles you're getting sent every month. At times there was 40,000 units going out the door in a month. And that's really, really difficult to uphold when you're dealing with a lot of companies who want you to front the cost for them over 30 days. You have to be able to have that capital to cover that, right? Rather than going to the bank and begging the bank for a loan or whatever. So I think that is probably the most crucial step when you're building another funnel of income is start small. Always start small. Don't jump in both feet. I think a lot of people get into it too quickly. Well, in my line of work, it's completely different, right? Because you need a lot of capital to start it. So you have to start small and then slowly grow. And then if you're already in the salon industry, it's so much easier because you can kind of say, hey, do you want to try out this new hair, and even discount it at first to see what the demand's like. And then as the demand grows, then you increase your pricing.
That makes total sense. Cause like, I can't imagine month one and having like a 40,000 unit order. Like that would be a financial nightmare. That's nobody could start there. So I think that's really great advice.
Okay.
Sorry. It's so funny. Then back to you, Kate.
I just say everybody is nodding. So like seriously, so she must be saying amazing things and I just can't hear them. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch the recording because I'm really missing out on something here, Lisa. I'm really sorry. One last question for me for the panel. I'm interested to know, you're all running your businesses for yourselves. So the goal is clearly to keep that happening, not hiring loads of people, and you might have aides, assistants and things like that. But what are you using? What would you recommend to people starting out in this kind of the way of working? How do you keep things streamlined and automated so that you can control all the various moving parts and you don't need to take on more people and then dilute all of the kind of wonderful impacts that this is having? Romana, why don't we start with you?
Okay. So in my case, and this is something that I actually teach a lot in my program, and I do what I preach, meaning like setting up systems and automating things as much as possible. And just, it's really about the systems. It's really about, like, before hiring people, it's really about the systems and the process as well, and trying to automate as much as possible with tools like YouCanBookMe, but not only, like there's others. And yeah, it's really about like systems and structure, which are two words that I repeat a lot inside my program.
Tiara, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Romana. Like, you have to have systems and structure which helps you with discipline, because sometimes motivation won't be there, but your business still has to run. You're tired, you might need to bring someone in really quickly, and you need to be able to point them to where they can go to quickly come in and integrate. So for me, automation is huge. Virtual stylist, all of my business is online, so some way to have a touch point. People need to be able to go somewhere. So booking with YouCanBookMe has been amazing, but also Notion is the next biggest thing in my business. That's where all of my SOPs are. That is where I keep track of all of my acquisition, all of my correspondence. It connects to my email. Like, I just need to be able to have a repeatable system that anybody can come in and learn really quickly. So yeah, definitely Notion, your booking tool, and your email. You can really start a business with that.
Tiara, you also have a really
one thing
cool
we found actually interesting.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
go ahead,
Tiara, you also have a really cool app.
Of course,
We all watched Clueless growing up, and we all saw Cher's Closet app. Don't you have something like that to work with your clients? And like, don't we all wish we had our own closets?
Yes, I do. It's through my CRM, which is a personal styling and image consultant database. So specific for us. I have an app that's provided through there. Yeah, and my clients can upload their closets, anything I shop integrates with things they already own, and I can create lookbooks all in one place. Communication, there's a text feature on there. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So you're creating a connection with your client that they don't necessarily need to book a time with you to do that. That can be on their own time and on your own time. And there's a kind of an async way for you to connect with each other that way. That's a really nice way of doing it.
For sure.
So we have Sheena on the thing. She's comes up as the student in chat, so I had to check her name, but her name is Sheena, and she's got a couple of really good questions. And one is about if anybody's using YouCanBookMe for courses and different services. So I know how I would answer that, but is either anybody on the panel would want to talk about how they're how they're getting their customers to schedule their courses and their services. Roel, do you want to talk about that, because you've got a lot of courses there?
Yeah, sure. So I actually compared all the scheduling tools out there before I decided to use YouCanBookMe, for a couple of reasons. Because for me, it's very simple, as I just mentioned before, that I can block some time in my calendar, and then YouCanBookMe automatically opens up those time slots for a couple of things. So I use it for intake calls. So if people watch my webinar and decide they have more questions or they would like to follow my course, they can pick one of those time slots, and then we have a one-on-one call. They can indicate whether they want to use a phone or Google Meet. That's what I use it for. I also use it for coaching calls inside the course. So some people buy a version of the course where they also have a coaching call with me, also Google Meet or Zoom. So they can use the exact same, I just have a different booking page for that. Also use YouCanBookMe. And I also use it, I don't think a lot of people do that, but I also use it for like live webinar when I do these kind of things. I don't do that very often, but then I also use YouCanBookMe page actually to just get everybody inside that Google Meet. Yeah, those three things.
Okay, so you're using a different booking page for each of your different courses and services.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and Tiara, I think, maybe if I remember correctly, but are you using appointment types for yours? So you're using one page listing out your different appointment types?
I do, yes. So I have an initial booking page for clients to intake, and once you get in the Stylish on Purpose universe, you then have the opportunity to book a variety of sessions, and there's a different booking page that has appointment types, if that's a closet cleanse or a main consultation or a fitting, or if you just want to chat with TT and we need to, go in a store right quick, or you have something pop up on your own personal calendar. My girls are very busy, so they do a lot of amazing things in the world. So we just have to be ready and YouCanBookMe is there to help them facilitate their needs.
Interesting. So Sheena, so there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. But the main things to think about is our appointment types feature, where you can list all the different appointment types at a different given time, and there are different locations, potentially different, not durations, different types of appointment types, and then you can list those for your client to choose from which one they want. Or you can have entirely different booking pages with different booking links, different availability. Some as Will was saying, he just wants to do on a Wednesday afternoon. That's all he does. Sometimes we do, if as Becca said, people who are coming, prospects who may or may not pay you, you may want to say, I can do those on a Friday, but the rest of the week is open for my clients who are actually paying me. So you can really control your availability based on those different booking pages. Romana, did you have any tips on that on your
I block my Fridays now not to have any meetings whatsoever.
Excellent.
So I protect my Fridays to be the day that I chill, that I'm not stressed that I need to be in meetings, and I can go to Lisbon. I live in Portugal, close to Lisbon. I can go to Lisbon and meet people and have like lunch dates and things like this. So that's one of the things that I do. And in terms of my calendar, I also have just like Tiara, I also have like those 30-minute discovery calls with people. I have a paid strategy call as well that I set up with YouCanBookMe. And then inside my program, every now and then, like normally I really try to push people on the group calls, but every now and then I surprise them with kind of like, hey, I'm opening up like one-on-one coaching calls. And they I start seeing like when the group starts needing a little bit more of a one-on-one pep talks or one-on-one strategy talks. So and then I open. I don't promise. I just like whenever it feels right, I open it up to have one-on-ones with them, and that's all done with YouCanBookMe.
I love that, because I love that YouCanBookMe can help facilitate that, but that you're able to kind of respond to the needs of the different cohorts. So some cohorts may never want that, some may need more, and you don't have a set, no, this is how it works. You're kind of just feeling the room and seeing, these people need a bit more. So here's my page, and you can.
I really like that it checks all my different calendars, because I also coach I'm a program manager, and I'm a coach for like the biggest coach in Europe. So I have like lots of meetings there as well. And then I have like my own calendar, and then I have like my family things. And I just love that for every single like appointment type, I can put like all these different calendars there, and it just like checks the whole thing. And I just like, it's a very simple feature, but I love it so much.
I love it too. I love it.
But it's never, like I don't have like double bookings and things like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I can my Fridays.
Yes, that is super powerful. And so the other question Sheena had, and I don't know, she's saying, how do you know when to add employees? She's terrified to have people working for her. Has anybody had to bring anybody on? And what was your strategy there? Tiara, you're nodding. Is that you?
Oh, well, I can answer. First of all, you bring on employees when you can afford to bring on employees. There are a multitude of options you have before you make that decision. There are virtual platforms, depending on the type of business you have. Maybe there are freelancers that can come in, or virtual assistants or in things. But you definitely want to be bringing in enough money to pay someone else, because you definitely want to pay them for their time and appropriately. Yeah, I'd say.
Romana, did you have something you wanted to add there?
Yeah, I think like having an assistant is something to consider at a very early stage, if you can afford, just like Tiara said it. But I think, like what I've seen, because I coach a lot of business owners, and what I see is that they start hiring help too late. So I also want to say this, because sometimes they are making money, but they feel that they have to do everything, and that is wrong. So it's really about, and there's actually a book with this title, it's really about buying back your time. So you have to buy back your time, and you have to start thinking, like, if you are still designing landing pages, and if you are still like setting up like appointment types in YouCanBookMe, just like think how much your time actually costs, and is it worth it that you are doing this type of tasks. And you can probably hire someone for, that is kind of like within your budget, even if it's just like 5 hours a week, that can make like such a huge difference to remove like the admin tasks from your plate, and help you, like spending more time on kind of like, making the sales, putting your brand out there, going to those in-person events, like whatever it is that, like moves the needle in your business to bring people in, like that should be your focus, and leaving the admin tasks to someone that can really help you with that.
I think that's a really, really important point, because often if you start your own business, you think, well, this is my business, I have to do it all. So as Chiara said, like you have to do everything. But at the same time, you are responsible for those people. And so having that ability to hire somebody maybe part-time, or somebody kind of a virtual assistant, it takes away some of that pressure where you're not working with them all the time. You don't have to have them for dinner and stuff. It's not that kind of a relationship. It doesn't have to be like that anymore. And I think that's both of you have shown both sides of that coin of don't wait too long, but don't start too early either. Kind of get that sweet spot of when do you need it and how much of it do you need. Does Lisa have any comments about kind of hiring people and when she's had to bring them in?
I'm kind of on the other side here, where I'm like, definitely as an employer, protect yourself, because you have to be very careful who you get involved in your business. That is a big thing that I think is not discussed enough. In my industry, it's different. Because, salons, they come in, they can take clients, they can go to a different salon, they can go start their own, they can get their hands on a hair extension product and they can try to mimic it. So it depends on what niche you're in, where I think it's very important to always have contracts, employment contracts. Definitely you have to be able to afford your employee, especially in Canada, because we pay so much money to have an employee. Our hourly rate, then we have remittance filings, then we're having to pay their EI and their CPP. So it's actually working out to be close to 37% extra to have an employee in Canada. So it is very expensive to hire, and you need to protect yourself as a business owner. So you need to make sure that they are signing Employment Standards Acts contracts. You have to have NDAs. I know that a lot of people may hear this and think, oh, that's kind of a cynical outlook to get into right off the hop. Like you almost don't trust them. And it's like, no. No one will ever love your business as much as what you do. And no one will ever compare to the work that you do. All you can do is try to mentor them so they can do the best job possible, but also educate them correctly.
Absolutely. And I think the education part is huge, because onboarding is everything, and it's not a fast process. The other thing I totally agree with Lisa on, like, go slow. It needs to be methodical, because if you're panicking and you're overworked and you hire somebody in like a reactionary panic, they're probably not the right fit. And it's important to be very methodical, very thoughtful. And you don't need to hire somebody on day one of hiring a job posting up. Wait for the right person. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you so much. So I think we're running out of time here, and I think we've got a couple of more slides that Becca and Ben want to get to. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to this panel, because you're living the dream, people. You've really done what so many people aspire to do, and you've given us some really actionable, really important, insightful talks and points that we need to be considering. So thank you so much. I know you're all really busy people. You're not lying in hammocks. You've taken a lot of time out of your day to help us today. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your time. Back to Ben and Becca.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And how awesome is our panel, guys? We're so thankful that all 4 people said yes. Like, the fact that like our wish list of guests all were able to be here is insane. Let's just do a couple of really quick things, and then we are all done for the day, which is crazy. So quickly, Ben, let's do some giveaways.
Yeah, so if you're still on with us and you're interested in getting this 4-hour work week and trying to be the person in the hammock, add the word book to the chat and we'll get you kind of included in our giveaway here. And I want this to be going to people that are actually going to kind of do everything that the panel was talking about automating, delegating, and liberating, right? And yes, the dream is to be in a hammock, but you got to start small, like everybody said. Ease into it. So we see Jennifer, Eileen, great. Yeah, so just add book to the chat and we'll get you included in there. And I'll be reaching out to you personally with where to get that sent out. So yeah.
I mean, I wish I was allowed to enter, because from the way Ben's talked about it, I really need to read this book too.
Listen, lady, I'm getting you a copy too. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it.
I'm just gonna fly down in person and pick it up. Man.
Yeah, we'll do a book club. It'll be all good. It'll be good.
I'm in for it. Let's do it. There's lots of people entering here, so we'll do some kind of a draw offline, and Ben will reach out to y'all. Let's wrap this up because we've only got a couple of minutes left to go. Key takeaways here, guys. Your time in the day should equal how much money you make. You should be able to make more money than that and have a little less stress. Have a sick day, like Rule said, and not have to stress about like giving you a financial hit. The more people you can service at once, the more money in your pocket. You need structure, you need scalability, but you also need to be thoughtful in your hiring process. You need to be thoughtful in your financials. And I mean, we just had the best panel that like, I feel like my key takeaway slide that I made in advance doesn't even like cover the tip of the iceberg for the goodies that like they brought to the table today. Couple final notes here. If you don't know, if you're already a YouCanBookMe user, you can go in now. You can get your referral code at any time. It's super duper easy. And we'll give you a $25 credit for any of your friends you refer who sign up for some of our plans. And they get 50% off. I know like my sister's signing up because she's starting a business. She should be watching this, but she's at her day job. But she may still have 50% off. I want to save her money. I love that for her. So if you're interested at all, I'm going to throw that link up right now. And that's it, y'all. Thank you so incredibly much for joining us today. Our panel was incredible. We're so blessed to have all of them here on this call today. I would give them all a big old hug right now if I could. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you guys have any questions at all, I will be sending out this recording later today once I've had a few moments to edit it. So don't hesitate to reply to my email if you have any questions whatsoever. And thank you so much for being here. Bye, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.